ending another hot day and starting to cool off. So with that, let's talk about some combat shirts. We like combat shirts, right? Let's do a tactical reload first. It's either tools or beer. That's what your dump pouch is really for. So this is the UF Pro Striker combat shirts, part of their lightest freaking tactical uniform in history. Let's go. You guys see we upgraded? All right, we're freaking classic now. All right, so why a combat shirt? Well, you know, you got Met TC and we can beat up every variable. I look at it for two reasons, right? When it's hot as shit and I'm doing work outdoors in the 13 plus UV index, hot ass sun, we got no cloud cover. I might be out in the freaking direct sun all day, right? That sucks. So that's when I'll drop my heavy field shirts and go to the combat shirt. The second reason is if we're doing a chest rig and we're out patrolling, or we're wearing a plate carrier, right? In the summer, I'm not going to be patrolling on a plate carrier. It's not happening. That's going to be for like a static position, defense, you know, homestead, gate guard or whatever, where it's possible bad guys want to come shoot at us. All right, so work outdoors in direct sun and you need some breathability, or if you're out doing patrolling and stuff, a chest rig, right? So those are the contexts that I use it for. So you guys may have seen, I might have already reviewed the pants. I don't ever wear a complete camo uniform. I just can't do it. Feels too much like active duty, so I don't do that anymore. I did review the thicker combat pants from UF Pro. So the Striker stuff is designed for hot weather, whether direct sun or hot humid weather. All right, so the whole point is light, breathable, and as tough as we can get with those considerations in mind. So let me just start off with, this is pricey stuff, right? This is like top of the line field gear and tactical gear. So do you need to go out and spend that much money for a combat shirt? Hell no, absolutely not. If you've got the extra change and you want to get a super light work shirt or a very light tactical shirt, then okay, might be a consideration. There are more budget versions out there, like the Proper Stuff. There's plenty of other companies that put out decent combat shirts, right? So we're going to talk about it from that context, that you actually have the funds and you want to get something like this. Kind of part of the price is, last I looked, this stuff is actually made in Europe. So, you know, if you want to consider where things are made, if you want it made in Europe or made in America, you're going to pay. If it's not Army surplus, it's going to be expensive. Now that that crap's out of the way, let's freaking get to what I actually like. So a combat shirt is a combat shirt, right? We want very light, breathable material here. They were designed to be worn with gear on, all right? These are not designed to be wearing like this and out there crawling through horrible vegetation all day. You will destroy this stuff. So with that in mind, the combat shirt is meant to be as breathable as possible here, right? You got all this material here, creating extra freaking heat, absorbing heat, circulating heat, fucking causing extra sweating and rubbing and all that stuff. The combat shirt gives you the breathability here, and then we've got our rougher material on the sleeves, right? So a lot of guys only use it for CQB purposes. That makes sense too. Okay, so that's what we want. We want light, thin, breathable material here. And you know, it's about 95 degrees in the sunlight. You definitely feel it. Sitting here in the shade with a nice cool breeze, I'm actually kind of getting a little cold, right? You see my nipples? Another big thing with combat shirts, so the first combat shirt I had was going to Afghanistan in the Army, and we had this ridiculous tight collar up here. You want to have something protecting your neck from all your gear and like your weapon sling, all right? But then eventually companies got smarter and they gave us a way to open it. Some combat shirts don't even have a way to fix this. It's just open, right? That works too. But it's good to have some kind of closure system. So if whatever gear you're wearing or just something is coming up on your neck, it's good to have that protection. All right, so when I'm out working on the homestead all day long, I actually will leave this flipped up, right? So that's another advantage. We want a tall collar. We want a large, robust collar. I honestly wish this poked out a little more, kind of like the old chocolate chip or DCU uniforms. Even the DCUs had a bigger collar, but this actually works because when we're doing our chores out in direct sun all day, see, I'm telling you guys, this is what your dump pouch is for. If I don't have a screwdriver and wire cutters in there, I got beer and extra hats. So when I know I'm in direct sun all day, right? We got our Boon Hat. Hey, this is actually UF Pro, I just realized that. Well, this one's awesome too. So now we've got coverage from the sun for most directions, all right? So if I'm doing something and I got the sun on my back and I'm looking down, you know, there's only a little bit of exposed skin there. But if I'm staying in that position, you know, I flip my freaking Boon Hat up, right? So this Boon Hat could be a lot wider, that would help, but because of all the netting and mesh in there, that's why I like it. People like the storage on the shoulders. That kind of came out of the GWatt era, but I don't really like to have stuff up there because that's just extra things against my skin causing heating. But the material is pretty dang good, man. It's as light and as breathable as you can get for, you know, as tough as you can get. There is a little Velcro pouch here, so you can slip elbow pads in there, and that's pretty cool. What I did like about the original Army combat shirts is they had those integrated pads for you. It's not anything you're going to be freaking busting doors down and stuff with. If you slam your elbow against your truck, it's still going to hurt. But at least if you're going into the prone and you're on your elbows in like an alpine or rocky environment, just that little bit of protection helps. These, they gave you the option to put them in or take them out. All right, so if I ever got UF Pro elbow pads that fit in here, unless they're big and bulky, I'm pretty much just going to leave them in forever, right? Because it's like whatever, I like to have that extra option. Then when we're out in the field, like if we're sleeping, we want to have a way to close these cuffs, right? So prevent bugs and stuff from crawling up in there. You know, I've talked plenty of times about wearing the Nomex gloves. They come all the way up, so you get some overlap, and then you can freaking cinch these down pretty well without cutting off your circulation, and at least you're keeping, I don't know, really annoying things from crawling up in there. The problem is with that, when we're talking about, you know, mosquitoes, especially those giant southern ones, they will be able to bite through this material. So you kind of have to decide, do I want to have more breathability and not become a heat casualty, or do I want more protection from the elements and mosquitoes at night? All right, so you're gonna have to make that call. I have slept in the woods with this, and I've gotten a couple bites, so it's kind of like the mosquitoes will find one little thin point and then they'll all go to that spot, right? It is what it is. Your arm pockets, your sleeve pockets are zip, and I mean, it's a pocket. What are we gonna talk about with that? So the problem with these combat shirts is they're so light, you've actually got to hold on to it to friggin' be able to zip it up. Otherwise, it's kind of a pain in the ass. So that's why, I mean, I don't know, in Afghanistan, I'd put my cigarettes in there, so when we walk through shit canals and stuff like that, my smokes wouldn't get wet, but pretty much I don't really use those. I'd rather have nothing up there. So now let's talk about some of the kind of professional stuff they put into these. This is where we call them technical clothing. So you see where I got my pistol, right? So they actually have padding right there. It's not because we're hip carrying. I think probably most of the professionals, they're gonna say you shouldn't carry that way anyway. I'm not a professional, but they have padding right there on both sides. Look at that. This does not make you all hot and sweaty. It's actually nice and comfortable. But when I'm carrying my pistol there, that's perfect. So, you know, this material is so light and thin, I would get some rubbage there with my other freaking combat shirts, like my Helicontex combat shirt. That's pretty cool. It's a lot heavier, but now we've got a pad there, so my holster paddle's not bugging me when my pistol, like, you know, picking up shit. That's why we carry here, because we're doing like chores. I don't get any rubbage there. That's pretty cool. So there's one on the other side, and that's designed for the gun belt dudes. You got padding there. It's good stuff, man. So here's another funky thing. This is a good option for dudes. So I guess if you don't lift and you don't have big old traps up here, you might want some padding for your either your plate carrier straps or whatever your load carrying stuff is, the straps there. So I always set my harnesses to where they sit right there on those traps, so never have an issue. If you do need padding, these are included. They call them an air pack, right? So, and it actually says top, so you don't get them confused. So it's very light, thin padding, and it's all mesh. So 100% breathability as much as you can get. So you kind of shove that up. There's a pocket somewhere. But you shove that up in there and you've got shoulder padding. That's pretty cool, man. So kind of some ingenuity on the tactical side. So the guys who do need padding there, maybe your stuff just fits weird and you need padding, it's cool to have that option. And you know, like I said, you're gonna have straps there anyway, so you're gonna build up more sweat. But at least the way these are designed, these won't be causing all that excess heat up there. It's still going to be your straps. So one more component of a combat shirt. I'm not going to whip it out. They've got to be long, right? Typically your combat shirt's going to be tucked in. So my Helicon Tex one, it barely goes deep enough. That's what she said. But you want these things to be super long, right? So when you tuck them in, you don't have to worry about them popping out on you. And then you got exposed skin. That's yeah, we don't want that in any kind of tactical or outdoor environment. All right, so then as far as sizing goes, so I'm 5'9", about 200 pounds. I've bulked up a little bit. Finally got over a man's weight. The European stuff, like American military sizes, I'm typically a medium at 5'9", whether I'm 5'9", 175 pounds or 5'9", 200 pounds. I'm typically going for a medium in the American military stuff. This is European sizing, so I had to upgrade to a large, right? So same with the pants. Keep that in mind if you're going to order something like this, especially from the European market. You might have to size up, right? Because hey, we're big people, man. Let's be honest with that. If you got the money and you're looking for a combat shirt, this thing will do you well. And if you use it properly and you use it in the proper context, it's going to last a long time, and it's a freaking outstanding shirt. If you abuse it and you go low crawling through sticker brushes and shit, you're going to get torn up, you're going to tear the shirt up, and that's what you get. Don't be stupid. So thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Out. Password. Link up complete.